Lovely to be here with you, Martyna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's just dive straight in to the content. So, what is the biggest problem or the biggest mistake you see plant-based runners making?
So, just like in general or around nutrition, because you can't really go into like a few categories, to be honest.
I guess the problem that you help people with the most.
So I'm not a personal trainer, so I'm more of a person that helps people with the nutrition side, but you can also go into like other issues that like for example like not including a warm-up or a cool down into the workout routine. But if we were to focus on the nutrition, and so like I'd say there's quite a few fueling mistakes that I could say people do. So, for example, let's just start with not eating before your run or just generally a workout. So I know some people don't like it, but you could really benefit from that. No one actually says you need to have like a big meal before you go and run. Having like something small, a snack, could be really beneficial, because I think a lot of people find that they feel weak and fatigued when they exercise with an empty stomach. So for example, if you just go for your run first thing in the morning, you've been fasting throughout the whole night. So I don't know how long, but let's say like usually 8 hours. It's the amount of time you sleep plus, the couple of hours after you had your dinner. So it's like between 8 and 10 hours of fasting, and then you just go for your run. So you might feel quite weak and fatigued because literally you are running on nothing. In long term, it also puts your body into a lot of stress, affects your hormone as well. It is just not really good in long term. If it happens occasionally, because it's just, a short run and you're not really planning on running 10 kilometers, you're just going for literally 10, 15 minutes, and it doesn't happen quite often, then I guess it's not that harmful, but it is important to bear in mind that it is beneficial to have at least something to put in your stomach before you go out to run. But also, on the other hand, having a big meal before you go, it's not the greatest idea either. So it's about, it's all about balance. Because obviously, like after you had a meal, your body just wants to digest this food and wants to absorb it. So it kind of puts you in this like a lazy state. I'm sure you know what I mean. It's like you had a nice meal and you just feel, oh, I could go for a nap now. And it's your body telling you, yeah, go for a nap. Don't do anything, because we want to absorb, we want to digest. So if you had a big meal and then you went for a run, you'll probably feel sick and you would feel really tired. If you actually wanted to go for that run, because probably you would not even fancy it, you'll be like, I want to go for a nap, because that's what your body wants. So no, we're not eating burgers before we go for a run. That's not the greatest idea, no. And also, sorry, did you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Sorry. If you want to just interrupt me at any point, because sometimes I'm like, when I start talking, I find it difficult to actually stop talking. So at any point,
this is great.
Or just wave at me or something. But yeah, so moving on. So I'd say like not having a meal after you come back from your run or after you worked out. So it is really difficult to restore this energy that you lost in your run, in your workout, because very often you might not feel hungry at all when you come back from a long run. With myself, I found it like when I had a hard session at the gym or when I went for a long run, weirdly, I actually don't feel hungry. But you kind of need to do something like what feels you is doing something against your body, because you're not hungry but you need to eat because you lost a lot of energy. And during workouts, your muscles work very hard and muscle fibers are being broken. So you need to provide your muscles protein so they can rebuild the broken fibers. And as well as source of carbohydrates, which will replenish the glycogen that you are losing from your muscles during your runs. So having a good amount of protein and carbohydrates is kind of essential for a good recovery after your run. So you can't really rely on having just protein or just carbohydrate. It is really important to have the mixture of both, because they both play an important role in your body and in the recovery after your run. So I'd say that's pretty much like the biggest mistakes that I see that people do with like fueling around the workouts. So like skipping the meal before, or like not a meal, but like the pre-workout snack, I'd say, and then not eating after, or just not having the right meal afterwards, because some people just don't know. But it is quite important to fuel your body in a correct way. So then you can recover better.
So really the biggest problems are people not eating at the right times around their running or their training.
Yeah.
When you say it's important to eat afterwards, like what, some people say it's like 15 minutes, other people say it should be within half an hour. Like what is the make or break kind of time? Like, and what difference does it make if you have, say, a snack at 30 minutes after you finished or an hour after you finished?
I mean, to be honest, like, for example, you just came from a run, so you don't have to, like, again, run straight to the kitchen, get a banana, get a protein bar, because you have to eat straight away. You just literally just catch your breath, drink some water. If you have to go for a shower first, go for a shower first, and then go and eat. Like, nothing's gonna happen if you eat. I say, like, I would say, like, the perfect window would be up to an hour, I'd say. As soon as possible, but I say up to an hour would be okay. Because obviously it's just not optimal for someone for most people to eat straight after the run, straight after the workout. Because physically, sometimes you are so sweaty, you don't want to eat, you just want to jump in a shower. And that's completely fine. Just go have a shower, then, out of shower, fresh and clean, and make yourself a snack, make yourself a meal. Or, if you're really fixated on getting something as soon as possible, prepare yourself some sort of like a protein smoothie. With, for example, you can blend a banana with some oat milk and a spoonful of peanut butter, a spoonful of protein powder, or some soy yogurt if you don't want to use a protein powder. So you've got some simple carbs, you've got a bit of protein there. You can literally just drink it when you're back. It will hydrate you as well. And then when you're ready, 15 minutes later, you can actually get to preparing like a proper meal.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like a lot of runners I speak to, they don't really have the time around their training and the rest of their job and the rest of their lives to prepare lots of healthy meals from scratch. So if someone doesn't have time to prepare from scratch, what would you advise them to do?
I mean, I can very much relate to that because I'm very busy myself. What I do, I meal prep, I batch cook. I found or developed a few recipes that I find quite easy to cook a big batch of, and recipes that I also know will keep me full and satisfied, and that got the right ingredients as well. So I get the right nutrients that my body needs. So I usually just stock my fridge with veggies. I got some tin beans in my cupboards. I've got some tomato passata. I literally chop up my veggies, cook them in a big pan, then add my beans, add my passata, season it to taste. So I cook a big batch of that, which takes me about 20 minutes, half an hour, and I can make it into about 4 or 5 portions, which could be my dinners or lunches for the next few days. And then for that, you just need a source of a carbohydrate. So you either cook your pasta or rice. Usually I just make it fresh because it's not really that tasty if you like cook it in advance, and it just takes like 15 minutes. Or you can, make a jacket potato. You could actually batch cook jacket potatoes. So that's even easier then. You've got your protein, you've got your vegetables, you've got your starches, or you've got your carbs, and that's perfect. I'm sure that everyone could find a night that they can spend a little bit more time cooking, because like it saves a lot of time later in the week. But also, if you are in the UK, we are very lucky when it comes to vegan ready-made foods. Like, we've got a lot of ready meals available in supermarkets, and to be honest, quite a lot of them are good in terms of protein content and aren't too processed either. So we can actually say that they're still nutritionally beneficial. We've got a lot of vegan protein sources, like vegan sausages or vegan like chicken pieces. Or different corn products. Like not all of them are vegan, but most of them are. Same with a lot of vegan either protein or carbohydrate rich snacks, like either protein bars or protein powders or carbohydrate powders or bars. Of course, we shouldn't rely on these foods, but they are life-saving sometimes. So it is all right to use them when you need to. But however, I wouldn't say you need hours to cook a balanced meal from scratch, because as I said earlier, batch cooking and meal prepping, it is really, really good. You can also freeze leftovers and reheat them when you need them. So that's what I would say.
You should see my freezer. Seriously, I love batch cooking, and I just like
it's great, isn't it? It is like when you get into it, you kind of realize how that there's so many different recipes you can actually double up on when you are cooking, because it doesn't really take any longer to cook a bigger portion, but then it saves you so much time throughout the week.
And also, I really like your idea of batch cooking potatoes as well, because also potatoes that have been cooked and cooled down have extra health benefits because of the formation of the resistant starch.
Yeah,
so great for your gut.
Yeah, you see.
So, actually sometimes it is a win-win. And I totally agree that actually some of the processed foods, I'm really glad that you brought this up. Some of the processed foods, people worry about eating too much processed food. But for example, corn, the vegan products are actually really quite good. Mycoprotein is a very sustainable source of protein that's grown
as long as
you're
not allergic to, penicillin. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a fungus, right? The mycoprotein.
Yeah. If you're allergic to penicillin, just please keep away from corn.
I didn't actually know that. So if you have a penicillin allergy, you will react to corn. Interesting.
Yes. That's what I from all I know, yeah. So I wouldn't recommend it to you if you know that you've had reactions to penicillin before. Or just try like a tiny amount, see how you react. Just don't go all in and have like a full box of corn pieces or something, because that might not end up well. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But if you don't have a penicillin allergy, I very much recommend trying corn products.
And me, yeah.
You post a lot of product reviews on your Instagram, and actually, I love following you and hearing your opinion on certain products.
I hope it's useful.
Yeah, definitely. I think you must have tried every single vegan snack in the UK. What has been your absolute favorite?
Yet.
What's been your absolute favorite that you've tried?
Oh my god. Do you know, this year, because we've had quite a few new like veganuary releases. So one of the newest products that's been my favorite, it's Marks and Spencer's vegan cheese twists. Oh my god. They not like, the richest in protein or the healthiest thing ever, but they are amazing. Vegan cheese twists from Marks and Spencer. Oh my god, they are so good, heavenly. I love them. Like, it is so difficult not to eat the whole box because they're just so addictive and they are so good. It's like my
Okay, I'm gonna try
like
them.
my guilty pleasure watching Netflix eating vegan cheese twists. But apart from that, I don't actually. Oh my god, it's a really difficult question because I just love snacks so much, and I'm a big snacker. I could just snack my way throughout the day. Really, it's just what keeps me going. When I'm like at home all day, just doing some work on my computer, I just like find myself going to the kitchen every so often, just reaching for another snack. But you need to give me a category. Let's just do like a sweet. So I told you a savory one. So that would be the cheese twists. So
Chocolate.
The sweet. Yeah, my favorite chocolate. Well, I think I'm gonna be a bit boring here because I just love dark chocolate. I just love good dark chocolate. The darker, the better. Like 85%. Yes, please. I love that. I do
And it has
snack
so
a
many
lot on like
benefits as
protein
well.
bars. Yes, yeah. It's rich in iron, magnesium. Yeah, it's got caffeine, not a lot, but well, I just love dark chocolate. It's so rich as well, but I can still eat a lot anyway. I just don't understand why people say, "Oh, I can only have 2 squares of dark chocolate because it's so rich." I could have 2 bars. It's so good.
I'm glad it's not just me. Seriously, I can't keep it around too much because I will just eat it all. Like, it's just inevitable. Okay, favorite protein powder.
Snack a lot on protein bars. Sorry, did you say protein powder?
Yeah, but go with the protein bar. That's fine.
Okay, let's go with the protein powder. Sorry, I think we are breaking up a little bit. It is very windy where I am right now, so we can just blame the wind on that. But protein powder, I really like my vegan brand protein powders and protein snacks. My favorite flavor is the salted caramel one. I think it's the soy isolate protein because they've got protein blend as well. But I think it's the soy isolate one that I use. And it's salted caramel flavor. It is really good. They've actually released quite a few flavors recently. So I got the protein blend to try, which was I think white chocolate and raspberry. It sounded really good. I haven't tried it yet, but when I do, I probably will run my Instagram about it. I do like their protein snacks as well, protein bars and protein cookies. I do use them as snacks quite often, to be honest. It's just quite handy for me because when I'm at work, I'm just on my feet all day, and having like a protein snack in the middle of the day, it just keeps me going because I don't necessarily have time to snack as often as when I'm, for example, on my day off, when I can just, focus on just, cooking all my meals and just kind of like managing what I eat the way I want to. Sometimes at work, I don't have the ability to do that. So having like a protein snack with me is actually really helpful. And sometimes after my workout, I just, grab a protein bar, and then as I said earlier, I go in a shower, I change, I do some stuff, and then like half an hour later I get to cooking like a proper dinner, for example, or lunch. So I do think protein powders are quite useful if you would like to use them. I know some people are really against them because it's processed, and some people are like, plant-based diets can give you enough protein from plants, which is true, and I completely agree with that. But using protein powders or different protein snacks as something helpful, can be beneficial for some people. For example, people that are new to plant-based diet and not familiar with, all the products that we, old school vegans know about, so like tofu or tempeh, and people that are still kind of like not used to eating that much plant products and not knowing that you can actually get, protein from this and that particular food, because you can pretty much get protein from everywhere. Like you have your porridge, you got protein in your oats. If you use soya milk, then soya milk is very rich in protein. Probably even the fruit you put in your porridge will have protein, not a whole lot, but what I'm trying to say is like you can find protein everywhere. And if you don't want to use protein powder, you don't have to. Unless, you're like a really extreme athlete that workouts a lot, and then your body actually needs a lot of protein. So in that case, it might be difficult to get it all from the diet, because then you will have to really bulk up your meals, and it might be really difficult for you to digest it because of the amount of plants you'll have to eat. So in that case, protein powders are quite useful. But this is just like the minority of people, because not everyone, trains from marathon or is like, an extreme athlete who goes to the gym and lifts heavy weights like 5 times a week. Like the average person can easily get protein just from eating a normal diet that's rich in plants and, nice balanced diet with, wholemeal bread or other carbohydrate sources like pasta or rice or couscous. Then obviously you've got your tempeh, you've got your beans, your vegetables, and it's just really easy. You don't need like fancy ingredients, honestly.
I like what you said about protein powder might make it easier for people to transition to a plant-based diet, because, sometimes it's quite difficult to just go from eating not many beans and lentils to a lot of beans and lentils.
Yeah,
and your gut has to adjust. So, and your bacteria colonies in your gut need to change a little bit to start digesting the different types of foods and carbohydrates and stuff that you're eating.
Yeah,
so you definitely want, if you are transitioning, you want to do it slowly and introduce, especially if you're experiencing gut issues. And you're right, I think protein powder is a great addition to your diet if you're doing that.
Addition, like it is addition. It is like not without a reason it's called like a supplement, because you should not be basing your diet on protein. You should not be like, oh, I can just eat chips all day because at the end of the day I'm just gonna have a protein shake with 3 scoops of protein, so I will get my protein, but let me just eat chips all day because I've got protein powder. It's not how it should be. It should be like just kind of like when you see that, for example, you've been too busy to cook something rich in protein, and you see like, oh, I don't think I had enough protein today. So you can every so often use the protein powder to kind of like bump up the protein content of your diet, but it's not something you should replace a meal with or a plant protein source with. So like, don't have a protein shake instead of having like, I know, a tofu stir fry, because it will be much better nutritionally for you to just have like a nice balanced meal when you've got like your beans or your tofu or your tempeh or whatever different source of protein with your vegetables and your carbohydrate, and just having a protein shake, because it will give you the protein but it won't give you the nutrients which your body needs.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Most protein powders are ultra processed, like everything else has been taken out of them.
It literally is protein.
But we all have those lazy days. I definitely do.
Yeah, that's why it's good to have it in your cupboard for those days.
So, you talked a lot about your weight gain journey on Instagram, and that really interested me, because I think there are a lot of body image issues and fat phobia around especially athletes and in the running industry as well. So can you tell us more about the journey you've been on?
Yeah, I do agree. It is just social media is filled with, images of perfect bodies. And you look at these images and you really want to look like that, or you just start feeling really bad about your body and start disliking it. And then you go on some weird diet, you starve yourself, you exercise a lot, you really, really ruin your relationship with food, you ruin your relationship with exercise. So yeah, I'd love to share my journey so far because it might resonate with someone and help them. So it is not a short story, but I'll try to kind of summarize and just choose the most important things. So as much as I loved running, it kind of became my addiction, but it not in a good way. I was planning my life around running. I was canceling social plans because it would mean that I couldn't go for a run. So I've struggled with eating disorder for many years. I am still in recovery. But during the first lockdown, it got to a point that I think I was in my worst. And I was running around 70 kilometers a week, which is mad. I was not training for a marathon or any race. I was just afraid I will gain weight because, lockdown meant not moving around as much as I used to. I wasn't working and, I wasn't allowed to go outside as often as I used to go outside before. So I was running around 10 kilometers every day, and sometimes more, sometimes less. I would give myself maybe one rest day if I was feeling like it. But even if I did, I would still go for a long walk, and I mean long, get my steps in. Well, I should also mention that I wasn't really feeling my body enough for this level of activity. And also at that time, I was doing a very stupid thing, which was intermittent fasting. If anyone isn't familiar with what intermittent fasting is not eating for a particular amount of hours in a day. So there's different ones. But for example, you've got 12 to 12, which is you fast for 12 hours and you eat for 12 hours. So basically, you've got different eating windows. So I got to a point that I was doing one of the most extreme ones, which was 16 to 8. So you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8 hours throughout the day. So then, sorry, my brain just came home and I lost the plot.
That's okay.
So I would usually go for a run in the morning, which means 99% of my runs would be fasted, and quite often I would also wait up to 2 hours after I came back from my run to eat because it was still, too early, and I wouldn't want to break the fast because I thought I'm doing something that is really good for me, but it's not.
Drink.
I'm good, thank you. So I wouldn't, as I said in the beginning, it is important to, replenish the energy lost in your run and have, your carbohydrate and your protein after you came back. And I would wait up to 2 hours because I was oh my God, no, I can't break my fast. It doesn't matter. I just run 15 kilometers. I'm still going to wait 2 hours to eat breakfast. So I've just don't do it to yourself. Please, if anyone listening to it, please don't do it to yourself. So as I said, I've been struggling with an eating disorder long before that, but it was this time that it actually got to the worst point. And a few months of that, and my body decided it had enough, and I started feeling very, very weak, and I got my knee injury back as well. I had a dodgy knee for ages, and it just kept coming back every so often. But it's been okay for a long time, and then running 70 kilometers a week for a few months, and it came back. But I still kept running. Even though my knee hurt. I still kept running. So after a few months, I got back to work, but also, so I was working full time, but at the same time, I was, trying to still complete my runs. I wasn't running 70 kilometers a week anymore. It was more like, I don't know, 45, 50, which is still a lot considering I was working like 37 hours a week, and I was pretty much on my feet all day because I was working in a cafe. So it was, walking all day, being on my feet all day, and then going for a run either before or after work. And I just had a few weeks of that, and then my body just decided that it had enough again, and I just got to the point that I had to take some time out because I was just feeling so ill that I just could not do anything. And that was kind of like when I decided that I need to take some action if I don't want my eating disorder to get worse, if I actually want to get better, because it's been about 10 years of me being ill, and I was just done with living like this. And if anyone ever experienced an eating disorder, you know what I mean, because it is horrible. It is really not the place you want to be in. And so I wanted to fix my relationship with food and exercise, and I also wanted to fix my body because I lost my period for many years due to underfueling and over-exercising. My heart rate was always very low. I was always cold. And that is just a few not so fun things that I had to live with for many years. And I had a lot of attempts to recovery before that, but they never lasted more than like 2 weeks. So that time I decided that I will get this done and I will get my life back. So I reached out for help. I started therapy last year, and I drastically changed my lifestyle. Like I sadly had to quit running and all the cardio if I wanted to get my period back, because running, it's something that puts a lot of stress on your body, especially if you're doing that fasted and if you're not fueling your body enough later, and if you've been doing that for ages. So I did have to quit running, which was really hard for me. I really struggled at the beginning, but I replaced that with strength training and weight training at the gym, and I got really into it. I've been doing that for almost a year now, and I really love it. I also increased my food intake by about like 500 calories per day. I stopped intermittent fasting. I restored a lot of weight. I started fueling properly and, always eating before and after my workout. And then after almost nearly a year of implementing these changes, I got my period back. And so I had 2 recovery periods so far. I haven't changed a thing because I know that my body needs more time to trust me back. And I really hope that in a few months' time I can slowly reintroduce running into my routine. I will still probably spend more time at the gym than outside running because I really, really like weight training. And I think it can also go hand in hand, running and weight training. So this is that so far. It's been really challenging. It still is challenging. I'm still kind of in the middle of this process, but that's it so far. So if anyone has any questions regarding this, wants more details or anything that I've go through, or just because I feel like I've talked a lot and I still feel like I missed some important things. So if I can help anyone, if anyone's got any questions, then you can feel free to contact me on Instagram. I guess we'll put that in the description somewhere.
What's your handle, just so that people can find you?
My Instagram is plant-based Martyna, so it's plant-based. Martyna is spelled Martyna. So that's where you can find me if you would like to ask me any questions or just follow me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey. It's really inspiring to hear, and it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds extremely challenging, and it's amazing that you've been doing this.
It's a lot of tears very often, but at the end it will be worth it. That's why I keep telling myself. I'm just doing that for the past me that I hurt so badly because I just didn't know what I'm doing, and I was just chasing the perfection that doesn't exist. So I just don't want anyone to go through that unnecessarily, because it's not nice, because you can't really live your life the way you want to. You just live the way you live your life the way your eating disorder wants you to, and it's just horrible. You feel like you're in jail, literally, because that's what it is, to be honest. So I don't want people to have to go through that. So it is so sad for me to see those Instagram posts of people that, promoting unrealistic goals, or, encouraging people to try, intermittent fasting. That's where I got it from. I found it on Instagram, and it destroyed my hormones. So don't do it to yourself.
Intermittent fasting has been so popular, and it's incredibly difficult, especially if you're running a lot. If you have quite a full training schedule and a full life schedule, it's incredibly difficult to fit it in and do it in a healthy way.
I appreciate.
I'm sure it is possible, but what do you recommend?
I would not. I appreciate that it can be beneficial in some cases, but if you are an athlete, I would not recommend intermittent fasting at all, especially if you're a female, because, well, unfortunately, life isn't fair, and our hormones are really easily affected by anything. So, I lost my period because I was under fueling my body, and I was over exercising, and it took me a lot of work and a lot of time to get to this point that I can, have my period back. And not having a period isn't normal. I know it can be, if you think about it, oh, it actually sounds so good. But I was every month, I was I just want my period back. I just want my period back. And I was so happy when it came back. And I was twice, because I've had 2 recovery periods. And I know it might sound weird. Why are you so happy you're on your period? But it's I'm happy that my body trusts me again, and that my body works, because it is something your body is supposed to be doing. If you don't have your period and you're a female, it means something wrong with you. And it's not just, the reproductive thing, because not having a period can also lead to having osteoporosis. I have not mentioned that, but I also have been diagnosed with osteopenia, and that's because I haven't had my period for so long, and because I have been over-exercising for so long. I was actually on the border of having osteoporosis. So I don't know if I can reverse that. It might be just something that I have to live with. I'm 25 years old, and I'm osteopenic. I'm nearly osteoporotic. It's not a great thing to hear when you're 24 years old. So it was actually a time that I decided that, well, I've got to commit now. It's not turning back. I've got to get it done. I've got to, fix my body. I've got to fuel myself. I cannot do it to myself any longer, because this is not going to end well.
I'm sure a lot of people, especially women, will recognize some of this in themselves. It's worryingly common for female athletes to lose their period. I mean, I didn't have my period for years, and I had all the PCOS tests or other things that could have been going on, and there was nothing else going on. The simple fact was that I was also running too much and not fueling enough. But you can ignore it for a long time. You can kid yourself that it's normal.
Because you're well, it's just convenient, isn't it? And you're just well, I guess it's not that, I guess it's not that bad. But then, you get your DEXA scan done, which is the bone density, and then you find out that you've got your bone density of someone that's 80 years old, and you're in your 20s, and you're oops. So, yeah.
What is one piece of advice you would give to runners who are potentially recognizing some of the things that you're saying at the moment?
I'd say reach out for help as soon as possible. It can be a friend, it can be your GP, it can be someone like me. on Instagram who post this kind of things. There is actually a lot of people right now that post similar content. So people that have had a really disordered relationship with exercise and food and recovered or are recovering. So it is really, really helpful to actually follow these accounts. And you can actually follow this person and be like, I think I am struggling. I don't know what to do. And I'm sure that a person like that would be able to like instruct you further what you could do, what have they done to get to the point they are at now. Because sometimes it is really, I'm really sad I need to say that, but sometimes GPs, they just ignore what you say to them. And I have experienced that quite a few times that, I went to my GP with not period and they were like, well, I don't know what's wrong. Do you want the pill? But just, it's not going to solve it, is it? So just reach out for help. Don't suffer in silence. That's what people say, and it is true, because if you find something that will count you account, if you find something or someone who could count you, could hold you accountable, then you will find it much easier, because doing that on your own, you don't have anything to keep you accountable. You just, you can just very easily relapse into your old habits and just, give up. And if you have some sort of support, it can be anyone who can be trusted. It can be your parents, your friend. If you've got a good relation with your GP, you can reach out to your GP, ask if you could be put on a waiting list for therapy, because having a therapy is really life-changing as well. It helped me a lot. I've been in therapy for a year and I've discovered a lot about myself. And it's just having someone you can open to. It's just really important.
Yeah, I like that you suggest actually ask your GP to ask them for help, because you're right. I don't think they can always give the right advice if they don't exactly know what's going on.
Yeah, you need to be really persistent. Like, you've got to be like, no, but I know there's something wrong and I know this will not solve it. And you need to be like, I want this. I want you to refer me there. I want you to do this for me. And you just keep calling them. You just need to, you just need to make them hate you. I think
just speak to a different doctor every time.
So yeah, because I've been on a waiting list for therapy for so long that I actually got to a point that I was calling them every week and I was like, have you still got me in your system? Because I haven't heard from you in like 2 months. And then can you tell me anything? Is there an update? It's like, I did have a private therapy for a couple of months because I was just afraid that I will give up or relapse or just decide that I don't want to do it anymore. So it was expensive, but my parents been lovely and they decided that they want to help me and they helped me with the money for the private therapy. I know that not everyone is so lucky and not everyone can afford it. So that's why you can, find someone else that can keep you accountable. It can be someone on Instagram. If someone messaged me and be like, I cannot afford therapy right now, but I need someone to keep me accountable. Can I message you every day, or I don't know, whatever? Can you keep me accountable somehow? I'll be like, yeah, sure, yes, let's do that. And like, I'm sure that everyone would do the same. Like, no one would reject you if you turn to them for help. Whereas your GP can just be really like, my friend who I met through Instagram, and she really struggled with an eating disorder as well. She got said that she will not get through to therapy because she doesn't have an eating disorder. She has disordered eating, so she doesn't deserve it. And it literally broke me. I was like, no, but you need it. You need help. And they just said like, she's not sick enough. And it just made me so angry. Because like, not everyone can just afford private therapy, so it's just really sad.
Yeah, I like years ago when I went to the doctors, they gave me they did blood tests and they were like, oh well, you have no hormones. Like, we can't find any hormones, so that probably means you're not ovulating. I was like, well, yes, I haven't got my period. And they were like, in the end, they were like, well, we don't know what's wrong, but, you know, because you're not ovulating, you'll probably be fertile for longer because you'll have more eggs stored up. I was like, oh, great, thank you. And that was that.
Oh, these are actually ridiculous.
I know. But yeah, I think it's amazing what you're doing, and thank you so much for offering to help people like that, because
oh yeah, anytime. Like honestly, what I've been through and what I've experienced, I know what a horrible place to be in that is, and I know how difficult it is to you know get out of there, but it is possible. Like it is like that's what I'm telling myself as well, because I do have a lot of days that I just feel like I don't want to do it anymore. It is so hard. It is so challenging, and I just feel so bad. But I just tell myself that it's going to be worth it at the end, and I really want to help people who are going through the same thing. And if I can help even one single person, then I'd be like over the moon that you know I've helped someone to improve their life, and that person then can go on, you know, tell other people about their experience and make more people aware that this is a big problem, like that society is really not in the right mindset at the moment, and like we are promoting eating disorders quite often, and it is so bad that you know we are promoting that, and we are trying to, you know, I don't know, it's just social media is just too full of things that make you feel bad about your body.
So the best place for people to contact you is Instagram, and that's at plant-based Martyna.
Yes, I'd say so. Yeah, I'm on Instagram pretty much all day.
I have to say, you answer very quickly to Instagram messages. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking to me today. It was really, really interesting. And thank you for sharing your story as well. Your honesty, I think, is going to help a lot of people.
I really want to hope
so. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, I'm sure I'll speak to you again soon.
I hope so. Thank you.